The last stand. The chanting grew so loud it seemed to climb the very heavens. Onye riri akara, onye nike, ya o. Onye riri akara, onye nike, ya o. The villagers swayed like trees in a storm, their faces blank, their voices wan. Children who once played football in the dust now stood stiff, mouths opening and closing in unison. Mothers who once scolded those children now marched without thought. Masquerades, spirits of tradition themselves, were reduced to puppets of the Akara woman. Pa Okorie's eyes burned with tears. His beloved Umueke was gone. The land of his fathers had fallen into the hands of something older than the Aroko, darker than midnight, and he alone stood free. He turned to run, but a force stopped him. His legs felt heavy, as though chains had been clamped around them. A whisper entered his ears, soft and sweet. Don't run, old man. Come, taste. Join your people. He clenched his jaw, sweat streaming down his wrinkled face. He gripped his walking stick with both hands and shouted, I will not bow. I will not eat. If this is spirit, then let the God of my fathers fight for me. The words echoed in the square, swallowed by the chant of the villagers. Mama Put's form twisted further, her neck elongated, her jaw snapping open wider than humanly possible. Rows of teeth lined her mouth, glistening like whetstones in a riverbed. Her scales caught the moonlight, shimmering red and black. She was no longer a woman. She was something reptilian, something ancient, something that belonged in the deep bush where men feared to tread. Some whispered later that she was a Mami water spirit cast onto land. Others swore she was a daughter of the serpent Ikoro, come to harvest souls. But in that moment, Pa Okorie knew only one thing. She was hunger itself. The villagers shuffled closer, their chant unbroken. They were walking straight into her arms. Okorie's heart thundered. If I stand here and do nothing, Umueke is finished. He thought of his dead wife, his grown children who lived in the city, the graves of his ancestors. Could he, one frail old man, stand against this thing? The answer came when the wind shifted. The flames of Mama Put's fire roared high, and in them he thought he saw faces, faces of the unborn, faces of the ancestors, all wailing silently. A shiver went down his spine. He knew then this battle was not of flesh alone. With trembling fingers, he reached into the pouch tied to his wrapper. He always carried kola nut for prayers and libation. He pulled one out, lifted it to the heavens, and cried, Chukwu, Chineke na am. If this Akara be of darkness, let your light scatter it. He crushed the kola in his palm and flung the pieces into the fire. The flames exploded, a burst of white light shooting upward. The chanting faltered for the first time. Villagers blinked, their rhythm broken. Mama Put shrieked, a sound like 1,000 chalkboards screeching together. Her body writhed, twisting unnaturally. Smoke hissed from her skin. Her red eyes blazed brighter, fixing on Okorie with murderous hate. You dare, she thundered. You, a withered stick of a man, dare challenge me? Okorie fell to his knees, panting. He knew he could not fight her strength, but he could fight with faith. He slammed his stick into the earth and shouted, The land belongs to the living and the dead of Umueke, not to you. The ground trembled. From the earth rose a sound, low, deep, like the drums of ages past. The Aroko tree behind him groaned, its branches swaying though there was no wind. The villagers collapsed to their knees, their chanting breaking into coughs, cries, and confusion. Mama Put screamed again. Her body swelled, doubling in size, scales bursting through her wrapper. Her head rose high, her tongue flickering long and forked. She was a serpent, taller than any man, her coils riding across the square. Children wailed, women clutched their heads, the men stumbled, terrified, regaining their senses at last. The chief himself fell flat on his face, groaning, "What have we welcomed into our land?" The serpent woman reared back, her jaw unhinging. She lunged for Pa Okorie. The old man closed his eyes. "Ancestors, receive me." But before her fangs could pierce his flesh, the Iroko tree cracked. A branch, thick as a canoe, snapped free and crashed down upon her coils. The serpent shrieked in agony, thrashing, her body scattering stalls and smashing drums. The villagers scattered in panic. Some fled into the bush, others fell in the dust, crying out prayers. Okorie, still on his knees, lifted his eyes. "Chineke, finish what you have started." The fire from her stove blazed uncontrollably, white instead of red, spreading across her scales like acid. She twisted, shrieked, writhed, smashing her tail against the huts. Roofs caved in, pots shattered, goats scattered, bleating. And then silence. The flames consumed her completely until all that remained was ash, her table, her calabash, her endless beans, all gone. The villagers slowly crept back, their faces pale with fear. No one spoke. No one moved to sweep the ashes. The night was still, broken only by the crackle of dying flames. At last, Eze Nadozi stood, his voice hoarse. "Pa Okorie, you have saved Umueke. Without you, we would all have perished." The old man shook his head, tears glistening in his eyes. "I did nothing. It was the God of our fathers. But let this be a warning. Not every sweet thing is blessing. Some sweetness is poison in disguise." The people wept, some out of shame, some out of relief. Children clung to their mothers. Men bowed their heads. Women tore their wrappers in mourning. From that night, no one ever spoke Mama Put's name aloud again. The junction where she once sat was abandoned. No hut was built there. No child played there. Travelers hurried past it at dusk, whispering prayers. And Pa Okorie, he lived out his years quietly, respected more than ever. People said he never touched Akara again, not even at family gatherings. When asked why, he would only shake his head and say, "If you had seen what I saw, you too would never taste it again." Epilogue. They say stories travel faster than wind. Soon, villages nearby whispered of Umueke and the woman who came with free food. Some believed it was only rumor. Others feared it was true. But everyone agreed on one lesson. There is no free Akara in this world. If you eat without asking questions, you may end up feeding something far hungrier than yourself. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends and families.